Hello everyone, long time no see. It's been like almost 5 years since I put a video up. Sorry about that for those who care. I've actually got a video in the works that I started shooting last week. If you've seen the last ever video that I had put up previously, that'll give you a hint about, what it's about, finally picking that project back up. Hard to believe that it's been 5 years. But okay. But today I thought I'd make a shorter one because I'm building a NAS, network attached storage, and I thought I'd just make a little quick one about that. So let's get started. I finally got all the parts in for what I'm going to end up doing. Let's turn this light on. And it's just like as cheap as possible. Reliability isn't, paramount, but I'm going to shoot for it. We're going to use some redundancy. We're going to use RAID 5. But other than that, like, it's going to be old parts and it's going to be good enough. Like I've got plenty of old computer parts, but they're old high-end stuff that is going to be very energy inefficient. So my little tentative plan to feel it out is to use some e-waste. Everyone loves e-waste. And the start is a gigabyte board. This is a 4th gen Intel i5 4440 or something like that. Let's see what it says. Yeah, 4440. And with the magic of having two of them from e-waste, one of them's already in the case right there, which is my old computer case. So didn't need to buy a case. But the case is absolutely overkill, as you'll see. Got a random CPU. I've already tested it out with like a little bench setup so that I can stream Plex 4K movies, and it'll transcode the 4K to the bedroom into 1080p just fine. Yada yada yada, and then I'll have plenty of space just to hold all that crap. Yeah, let's get to the more interesting parts. If you go onto eBay or something and you want to buy 4 hard drives, SATA hard drives, normal consumer hard drives, and you get some used ones or whatever that came from maybe an enterprise environment, so you can kind of trust that they haven't had any power cycles and they just have a lot of hours on them, but they should be fine. You're still going to spend a stupid amount of money for what you're getting. So my hopes were that I would find, like a whole bunch of 1 terabyte drives and just kind of play with them, or like a stack of 2 terabyte drives, but trying to keep this down to an extreme cost. So my plan was to use SAS drives, serial attached SCSI. And you can get old enterprise SAS drives for pretty cheap. And if you get, or I was first looking at 3.5 inch, full size hard drives, but I couldn't find a reasonable case, and I didn't want to buy a new case to hold a bunch of full-size hard drives. So, for a decent price on eBay, you can get a 5.25 bay sized 4 bay 2.5 inch backplane, basically. And this will work with SATA and SAS because they're kind of the same physically. SAS drives have a single connector usually that has power and data. It's just kind of both the connectors like next to each other, but then the spot in between is different between SATA and SAS, and they're the same, but they're not the same, and you can't, whatever. So anyway, this drive, you just plug in the data side of your the data connections, and then one power connection. And you'd think, well, oddly enough, 2.5 inch drives are kind of cheaper if you get SATA drives. They're obviously not as fast, but they also use less power, which is nice. But I wanted to go SAS, so we got a about $40 SAS controller. It's got 8, you can plug 8 drives into this, or if you want to go bigger than that, which I don't think I need to, obviously I've only got 4 bays available right now, you can get an expander card for these, and each of these will put out, I think, 16 lanes, if you want to call them that, 16 connections. Don't quote me on that, but that's an easy way for just, 2 cards to expand into, or no, maybe it's 16 per, maybe it's, you plug these 2 into the 2, and then there's 4 more coming out, and you can have 16 on each of those. It's ridiculous. It's really cheap. Again, this was like $35 or something like that, free shipping. Comes with the cables, so you plug the main side into that, and then you got 4 on the little daisy, or not daisy chain, but pigtail. And then you plug each of one of those 4 into this guy, and then you give it power. And so, speaking of hard drive prices, you can get old enterprise drives quite cheap. So these are 10,000 RPM SAS drives, 2.5 inch obviously. They are thicker than a normal laptop hard drive, for sure. They're probably thirstier power-wise. These have 0.8 amps at 5 volts and half an amp at 12 volts, which would be 0.4. So these will pull 10 watts each, maximum. But they'll probably just be sitting there idling like pretty much all the time, or possibly put into standby and shut off. And I got 5 of them because it was a lot of 5 off of eBay, and I think that cost $60 or something like that. So we've got 60 here, 35, 40. It's pretty cheap. These are 1.8 terabyte drives. They're a different capacity than you're used to for normal consumer SATA drives, but that'll give me plenty of space for the media that I own digitally, and then some space for some backup stuff as well. And if I want to expand that, so I'll have 4 drives in that, that's one of these, I can just buy another one of these guys. And they're, again, just a 5 1/4 bay kind of adapter, mind my busted finger, that, you don't need a huge case that has all these 3.5 inch bays in it, because you can fit 4 of these guys into here. And then you just use an older case that has 5 1/4 bays. So it's brilliant. And of course this also has fans to cool it. This will probably get pretty hot under full tilt, or probably pretty hot in general. We will have to see how that goes, because I don't think the cooling in these are, these are going to fill up a lot of space in there, and they've only got so much ventilation. And we're going to feel it out. This is why I'm not spending any money, because I can't afford to do it, crazy, the way that a normal person probably would. But it's also just kind of a toy and playing along with some random parts that are otherwise kind of useless to most people, so they are cheap. So that's where we're at. I also got a USB 3 header to port adapter, so I can just plug that into the board, and then we will boot off of a USB stick instead of having a separate SATA hard drive, SSD, whatever. I'm going to run true NAS. Can't remember which one I picked. Probably scale, whatever it is, because it seems to be, people say just use scale instead of core. Might as well. So yeah, we're going to do that. Oh yeah, I was going to say, pretty sure this loads into memory, so like the speed of this doesn't really matter that much. Don't quote me on it. You can correct me in the comments if you're mad. Yeah, so I will get some of this stuff out of the way. I was not thrilled with the way that the drives were packaged, in the mailing, but hopefully they work. And again, I have 5 of them, so I'll have 3 plus a parity drive, and then I'll have a spare. So hopefully that'll all work out. So we just need to fill this out. Not a whole lot to do really, other than screw in some stuff, except I don't even need screws because these are toolless. I guess I need to screw the drives into the back plane, so I got to find those screws, which there's a million of them at work, but I don't work until Wednesday. I'll figure it out if I need more screws. I've got the, you might say, oh, you could have run this in the back. First off, I don't care. There's no window on this. It's just a, well, I mean, it has 2 big fan spots on the door. But I'm just going to kind of keep this out of the way, and I could flip the power supply around and get the cables closer to the back and probably run it over there. But I want to use this as basically a second exhaust fan, because I want to have the least number of fans in this as possible. It has 2 120s in the front. You can't see any of this, I'm sorry, it's very dark. 2 120s in the front, 120 in the back, and then I think this is actually a 140 in this old BFG power supply that hopefully is fine. We'll see. Might explode. I know it works. It works right now, but longevity, not sure. It's old. Again, just stuff I have sitting around or acquired from the e-waste. So yeah, let me stick stuff into the case, and then we'll get True NAS installed and figure all that out too. Again, there's not a whole lot that I'm going to do with this in the long run. Just maybe some storage for a backup of an important drive on my main computer, one of them, and then just media, just all my music and movies and stuff like that. So, yep. Let's see how it goes. All right, prepare for shaky cam. Here's what we got so far. So we got our SAS controller in there. I forgot to mention these are actually brand new for that $35, and they are already flashed, or they come naturally with a certain firmware that's good, or that you need for True NAS IT mode or something like that. I can't remember what it all means. It doesn't matter. They're ready to go. So this is our pigtail type thing that goes up to each drive, and then I've got them 1, 2, 3, 4. And unfortunately, I guess I should show you, but I can't. Oh, that's a problem. I can't screw the drives into the sleds because the holes that the screws go through and then into the drive are countersunk, so they're tapered so that the screw fits flush in there, you know, like that. So that means the screw cannot stick out because there's like no space in there. There's no wiggle room to have a screw head sticking out, as far as I know. I haven't tried it with a regular screw, but for now, I have just plugged the drives in and then pushed the sleds in, which will be fine as long as I don't bang it around too much. At least fine to test while I source the correct screws with the countersunk heads and stuff like that. And I think they're also going to need to be longer than your average like 5 1/4 drive or modern motherboard screw. You know, the smaller of the 2 screws that computers are usually built with. Modern computers usually use what we used to use for optical drives for the motherboard. This case uses hard drive or power supply screws sizes for the motherboard, which is nice because I have a bunch of those. Yeah, so that's where we're at. I should clarify very specifically, earlier I was talking about SAS and SATA drives, ooh, I got a text, being similar in the connector, basically, but they are not compatible. Do not buy SAS drives because they're cheaper, thinking that you can plug them into your regular, you know, SATA stuff. You can't. It's a different protocol. It's a different thing. Since the connectors are so similar. In this case, you can put SATA or SAS drives into this enclosure, but what on the other end needs to match the type of the drive. I also want to clarify, I think I will try it out for now, but TrueNAS says that they no longer recommend installing TrueNAS to a USB stick due to the number of like writes that happen. So I do have a little 240 gig, I can't remember what brand, SSD floating around that I might just use instead as my boot drive. So maybe we'll just do that and do that now. I was hoping to keep that drive around for the next time a random laptop shows up in my lap and needs an upgrade, and I can just pass that little 240 gig drive on to someone. But I don't know. For now, I'll use that, I think. Or I'll try the USB stick thing. I don't know. Maybe I should just go straight for the drive. I do have this nice shitty sled, pardon my French, that currently has a Velociraptor in it. What are these, 1500 or 15,000 RPM? I think these are 15,000 RPM drives. I can't see any. Anyway, it's a 1 terabyte drive that I've had for a long time. Used to be one of my main drives, and then I finally got SSDs for things, because turns out this isn't that fast, you know? An old SATA SSD is going to be way better than that. Who would have thought? Anyway, time to blast TrueNAS onto a USB stick for installation purposes, and I guess I will pop that SSD onto this sled, and then we can shove that down here like a normal person. So yeah, here we go. A little update here. When I was taking the Velociraptor off of this guy, I noticed these screws are countersunk. So I think I'm going to put one screw in each of those just so that they're not going to move too much. And then I'll find regular screws to put this guy onto its little adapter sled. Yeah, that's a nice find, which makes me wonder, maybe wherever I kept this thing, the box for it, maybe there's more screws in there. Maybe there's more countersunk screws, so I might go look for those. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Oh, and also, don't do what I did and just stick those in there without the sleds, because they're really hard to get out. I had to use forceps to surgically remove them. Good times. Alright, we've got it mostly buttoned up. I did not actually attach the SSD to anything. It's just sitting in there. But this will be the first boot. And we'll see what happens. Forgot. We gotta plug in. Oh god, why did I get such a small. I'm gonna drop it. Gotta plug in the USB drive. Both of them. By both, I mean my keyboard and mouse. Because that's necessary. We might want to be able to do stuff. Here we go. We'll turn it on. I think I. Nope. We'll turn the switch. And then we'll turn it on. It's very quiet. Too quiet. I can hear fans. I can hear, okay, our SAS thing seem, oh, now they're spinning up. Oh, they all came on. All right, so our SAS drives are operational. Very nice. Wait, why did that say they were 600 gigs? Grub, what is this crap? I don't know what these were wiped with. They are 1.8 terabyte drives. I don't know if I need to set up a hardware RAID or anything. Gosh, I hope these are 1.8 terabyte drives. They don't really say on top of them. I'm looking at the 5th drive here. Unless I ordered the wrong ones, which is totally possible. Hold on. Okay, we need to get into BIOS. Crap. Hopefully I didn't order the wrong stuff. If I did, then that sucks. Just checking my eBay while I'm here on my phone, because that ain't right. Purchases. Let's see what we got. Yeah, I bought 600 gig drives. I fucked up. Pardon my French. Looked at the wrong listing and bought the wrong listing. Hey! You know? What do you care? It's the same thing's gonna happen. Okay, well, we could get like almost 2.5 terabytes if we have no redundancy, which is fine. Or almost 2 terabytes with RAID 5. Whatever. We screwed up. And apparently my boot USB is also not. So that is actually what it was trying to do. Okay. Well, am I in the right boot mode thing? This is going swimmingly. At least everything works, you know? That's kind of nice. Now I gotta figure out if I want to return these drives or not. I might just deal with it, because I don't have that much music. I mean, I have a lot of music. Got a lot of music. Huh. If I try it with the old school method? No? Yes? Hey, there we go. It was just trying to boot UEFI, and the drive's not, my USB drive's not set for that. So anyway, yeah, let's install it, and we'll just go from there. My camera's about to die because the battery in it is apparently toast. So I've gotten just however many minutes this has been worth of footage out of it. So I'm going to shut it off now and plug the battery into the charger, and I'll get back when it's ready, I guess. This is pretty boring anyway. Install/upgrade. We're going to put it on. Oh, you need to actually select the disk by hitting space. Erase all partitions. Yep. Yep. All right, here we go. See you in a minute or 5 seconds. Sound good? Sound good. Okay, we got it installed, but we have this fun problem where it says, hey, you got a 4K display. And even though it's a 55-inch TV, boy, you sure can't read anything off of it, can you? So, I'm going to stand up here. I'm going to change the IP later, but... Alright, I can't remember how I did this last time. We'll just go to the IP address and see what happens. There we go. I think that should be right, and here we go. Everything's up. We gotta make some storage pool. We're just gonna call this NAS. Next. Layout. Shoot, I don't know. Fudge. Man, forgot I had to make choices. Let me get this figured out, and I'll be right back. So we've got a storage pool, and we installed Plex, Now I got to set up Plex. I'm probably just going to end the video here pretty soon, but you get the idea. I'll mess around with a little bit more and then sign off after that. So be right back. These drives have a really interesting sound to them. It's not what you expect for your average hard drive or even old hard drive activity sound. Sounds like someone's scraping mud off of something. I don't know. It's interesting. Or maybe the drives are screwed. I don't know. They seem to be fine. They seem to be fine. Well, it works. A ripped movie works fine. Guess we'll see if it works in the bedroom, where I have to go through wireless, and it's going to have to transcode it to 1080p. So we'll give that a shot too. And I'm just going to leave this running. Yep, works fine in here. See, we're running at 1080, so something's transcoding. Whether the Plex server, the NAS itself, is doing that, or if this Roku box is doing it, I don't know. Here's the guy's foot. Yep, good to go. Now I can stuff this away in a corner until I upgrade the drives or whatever. Which I don't think I'm going to be immediately replacing these drives. I'm just going to run it as is, just for media, and maybe for a second set I'll get another backplane type bay thing, because I got to fill up this space, right? I don't know where all my blanking plates went. I might know where one is. And then I'll get some bigger drives. And that's my stupid mistake of saving multiple eBay items and going, oh right, these are cheap, and then buying them. Gotta mute this. So, thanks for following along with me for this pointless video, nearly pointless, where I slapped together a NAS out of crap. I make a big mistake and didn't pay attention to which hard drives I was ordering out of my list of stuff that I saved. I'm sure there was another one that was like $10 more and was what I actually wanted. But yeah, I'm an idiot. Don't be an idiot like me. I've got the other side panel that'll go on here. I'm really excited about how quiet this is, even with 10,000 RPM drives in it, because that Velociraptor, which I think is a 15,000 RPM drive, is not quiet in any way. I mean, once it's in a enclosure and you got the doors on and everything, it's fine-ish, but you can definitely hear it. And these are really actually quite quiet. I think I'm gonna just send a crap ton of data at this and see how warm the drives get. They are not warm at all. The air coming out of there it's just air. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll have a cooler video coming up soon. Y'all know the drill. This is sloppy BS, old school YouTube style, bad camera work, zero production quality and budget. So yeah, if you're still here, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.